The Kooks 1 7/8 inch off-road long tube headers are a great choice for any 2015 and newer Mustang GT owner who might be looking to step up their exhaust game to the next level. This kit gives you a classic aggressive muscle car sound while delivering a pretty good increase in horsepower and torque figures, all while eliminating any restriction you'd get from catalytic converters. This one is one of the top options in the category in almost every way: construction, sound, performance, and even install. Now it is priced at about $1,600, which is worth every penny if you're looking for some top-notch long tubes. The install will always get full 3 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter because it does require mechanical expertise and will test your entire toolbox and take the better part of a day to get done. If you're in the market for a set of headers, long tubes are the way to go if you're looking for a good increase in power and sound all around, but more so gains at the top end of the RPM range. Long tubes, as opposed to shorties, have a longer primary tube length, which keeps exhaust gases separate from each cylinder for a longer period of time. The 1 7/8 inch primaries fuse into 3-inch collectors for smoother exhaust flows. Now it comes with 3/8 inch laser cut flanges for a perfect fitment to your Coyote motor. Now the sound of a set of long tubes is going to make all the difference. You really cannot mimic the sound something like this makes. Like I said earlier, Kooks is one of the more premium options. Their long tubes give you scavenging spikes, which also help to reduce turbulence, translating to having less back pressure and ultimately allows for more power. It also helps to produce a better sound, so you can expect something loud, a little raspy and throaty, and extremely aggressive. The Kooks setup requires the use of a Kooks Y pipe, which is very much worth noting. When grabbing a set of long tubes, keep in mind you're needing to rework parts of your exhaust to make it fit. Going from stock length manifolds to long tubes, there's a big difference in size, so the mid pipe will need to change. You want to grab the same brand mid pipe as your long tubes when doing so. This promotes the perfect fitment and performance. As I mentioned, this one here is the off-road option. That means no restriction, that means bigger gains, which means louder volume and crazy sounds. While cats do tend to keep the long tube setup legal in most areas, if you're more concerned with your performance on the track or making the most power on the dyno, then this is usually the way to go. You'll want to keep in mind that off-road really means off-road. It won't be legal for street use, and that's just something worth knowing. Now the debate of the 1 7/8 inch versus 1 5/8 versus 1 3/4 primaries is one that has been beaten to death over and over in forums for a long time. Ultimately, the size of your long tube primaries could make very little difference, if any, while running a stock or lightly modded motor. Once you get into forced induction or heavily modified motors, then long tube primary sizes would make the difference. The 1 7/8 inch being the larger diameter would be best suited for forced induction setups because it'll actually perform a little better than smaller tubing. Bigger airflow from forced induction warrants bigger primaries to get the exhaust gases out faster. However, if you're running a stock setup, this would work just fine without hindering your performance. It's just going to be best used to its fullest potential on higher horsepower forced induction motors. If you're working with a stock Coyote, then you have a few options depending on your size preference, but if you're running a supercharger or other forced induction, you're gonna want to take advantage of the 1 7/8 inch performance a little bit more. Now this particular set comes in right around $1,600, like I mentioned earlier, which is more on the higher end of the spectrum, but for a good reason. It boasts that 304 stainless steel mandrel bent tubing for increased airflow and more efficient exhaust gas movement. Those scavenging spikes are built in, which some less expensive options don't offer, and the flanges are made from original CAD data from Ford for a perfect fitment, and it really just sounds amazing. Scavenging spikes, I do want to point out again, help with directing airflow to the center of the collector, which streamlines the airflow for a better sound and power. Now it's little things like that that make the Kooks long tubes one of the more premium brands, reflecting in that price tag. Now the installation for a set of long tubes for sure gets 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You're looking at about a day's worth of work and you want the entire toolbox on deck. It's something I'd recommend for the professionals or those with some serious experience. There isn't a ton of room to work with when installing long tubes on the 5-liter Coyote motor, and if you're not working with a lift, it gets even harder. If you're not comfortable tackling it yourself or you're not experienced enough, there's no shame handing it over to your trusted local shop to get done properly. Just tack on that price tag to the end of that $sign. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a set of off-road long tube headers, then the Kooks 1 7/8 inch option here has some of the best quality, some of the best features and sounds, as well as gains, and you can get yours right here at AmericanMuscle.com.